Hello everyone, a very good morning. Can someone please confirm if I'm audible?
Yeah, good morning, sir. Yeah, audible.
Great. All right. So hope you all are doing good. So the agenda of today's session is going to be to implement caching in your APIs, that whatever you have implemented so far. So we'll be learning that how we can basically cache certain endpoints and what are the different mechanisms to do that. So that is what is going to be the main agenda for today's session. I think we can get started with the session as well. It's already 9:09. I hope the participants will be able to pop up when they join. Okay. I guess, yeah, we can get started. So, Narendra, we'll take it forward from here. So, over to you, Narendra.
Thanks, Abhishek. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will implement the caching in the API today. Not in the API, it's more general concept. The caching. What you do, I mean the caching will be on the server. So what you do, let's say you have some function or some mechanism which does a lot of computation and it doesn't change often. So what you want to do, you want to cache that the result of that function, and if some user asks for the result of that function, then you can return the resultant value of that function. So I mean this way your application will be much faster because you have cached the data and you are not going to call the database server to get the data. You are just returning from the memory, and memory is much more faster than making an HTTP call to some database server. So this is why you use caching. Caching is something that you cache the data on the in the memory, and if someone asks for the data, then you return from the cache rather than making some computation. You cache the result and you return the result directly to improve the performance of your application. So for that, we are going to use the Flask caching. So I'll share my screen and start the session. So is there any question why we use caching and what is caching?
No, sir.
So we will be using the Flask caching to cache the results. Okay, so and one more thing I would like to say that the Flask caching supports multiple backends, the caching backends, and for our purpose, you can go here the caching backends, building cache backends. So there are multiple cache backends. For this session, we are going to use the Redis cache because we are already using the Redis for multiple purpose like the message queue for our salary system and the result backend for our salary system. So we are already using the Redis. So we will use the Redis the for like caching the result also. So we are going to use this Redis cache. So I will start with installing this uh, uh, the the Flask caching. Okay. we have a virtual environment. Now we are inside the virtual environment. So I will go and pip install the Flask gas. So you can copy this from here and okay. Sorry. And let's start with making a simple application. Inside the app.py, I will create a simple Flask application from Flask. And I will pass the name of this module, and I will create a simple route app route. I'll call it home and return hello, just to check whether our application is working or not. Name is equal to main app.run. Let's keep debug equal to let's try to run this application. Python 3 app.py. Okay. What do you want to do? Okay. Localhost 5001. Yeah, it's working. I think there is some issue. No copy this. Yeah. Okay. Let's change the port here. Let's not use this port. Okay. Our Flask application is running now. So what we will do, we will create a new module and call it cache. We'll keep everything related to the caching inside this cache module. cache.py. And I will import port from from class cache. Cache. And then I will create a cache instance. Cache is equal to cache, and then import it here from cache cache import cache, and then okay, before that we need some configuration. So I will create one file config.py. We need to tell our application that we are going to use the Redis cache as Redis as a caching backend. So for that we need to set the configuration. So if you go to the cache, the documentation, and go here, Redis cache. So before that we need to go here, and you can see all the parameters which you can set for the caching. So the first thing you need to set is cache type. What cache type is, you are telling your application that which backend I want to use. So in our case, we are going to use the Redis cache. So the value of this cache type will be Redis cache. Equal to, I'll copy this Redis cache. Okay, and you also need to provide the URL for the Redis cache. So you can set all these parameters, all this configuration for your Redis cache. If you go here, so you can see that these parameters are related to the main cache, which we are not using. So we are only concerned with these parameters which are related to the Redis. So you can set the host and port for the cache, or you can directly use the cache Redis URL. The reason I am using cache Redis URL, because here I can like give the which database I want to use. Like if you remember from one of the screencasts of the case set, uh, I mean the Redis have multiple databases, indexed databases. So if you want to use the database with index 0, you just put /0. So instead of using the host and port separately, I will use the Redis URL, cache Redis URL. P is equal to, I will just give the Redis as localhost, and then you give the port 6369. I'll So before doing this, you should have the Redis server running. So our Redis server is running on the port 6379. So I will be using this 6379 and /1. This means I am going to use the database with index 1. And I will be using this Redis insight to see which data has been stored inside my database, my Redis database. So the way you create a database here is you go click on this button. I don't know how many of you are using this Redis insight. Which GUI you guys are using?
Can you show how to create a database here?
Yeah, right. Or first, from where we need to install this Redis and this Redis Insight? Then we
Redis
can
insight,
try.
Redis insight you can search for. I I installed it long back, so I don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah. Redis insight, I think you can download from here.
Okay, okay. And that one word, which one you are showing from the command prompt? What is that Redis?
This one, this is the Redis server. You can use the Redis CLI or GUI. You can do both.
So we need to download something for this Redis.
Yeah, you need to have a Redis in your system because we are using this Redis as a like caching backend. So all the data will be stored inside our Redis database.
So from where you need to we need to download this one?
You can use the command like
Okay, directly from the command prompt.
yeah, you need to have Ubuntu installed or you can use the WSL.
Okay.
We shall go with the latest version, na? It's 2.0, 2.x.
So the way you create, if you once you download this Redis Insight, you click on this red button and add a Redis database here. And if you come down, then you can see you need to like provide the host name. So localhost is my host name and port 6379, and then database alias you can set. So for this, what is the date today? 16 July. This is the alias for the database, and username and password is not mandatory, but you want to set the database index, and I will, because I am using the database with index 1, so I will create the database with index 1. Okay, and then and add Redis database. So you can see we have one database here. I don't worry about it, please. Delete this.
So are we using a trial version of Redis Insight?
Yes, we got it. Okay. So now we are ready to cache some data. Okay, and one more thing, you can also set the some more parameters like cache type is already, and you can also set the cache default timeout. At the time till when the data is valid. After that, it will be automatically deleted. So if you will not set the default database, it will be like infinite. It will stay there for forever. You can set this timeout inside the Redis decorator also, but you can also set the default Redis timeout. So I will keep this. I will copy this and paste it here. Is equal to, and I will make it 1000 seconds. So by default, it will store the data inside the database for 1000 times, if, for 1000 seconds, if you will not provide the timeout specifically. By default, the timeout will be 1000 seconds. Okay, this is the minimal configuration you need. You need the what kind of backend you want to use for the caching. So we are using Redis. So the cache type is Redis cache, and you can give the cache Redis URL, or you can specifically provide the like port and host, but we are using the URL. And I don't think we need anything else. So let me check. Go to the config.py. No. And you can also set the cache prefix, cache key prefix. I mean, you can prefix your key with some value. If you want to prefix with my app, by default it will be Flask app. It is more for the readability of the key. Let's say you are running to Flask application, so and if the key prefix for both the application is Flask app, then you will not be able to like distinguish between, I mean, which data belongs to which app. So you can set the cache key prefix. I will skip that for now. I think this configuration is enough.
Can you please repeat the last part? Cache key prefix.
Cache key prefix.
Yeah.
Cache key prefix. I mean, data. The Redis store the data inside the database in key value pairs, right? So you can prefix your cache key with some value. Like if you will set the cache key prefix, the key will look something like this.
So here my app will be a key.
Yeah. No, it's not key, because you are going to store a lot of, I mean, different data. So this is just a prefix and some key. So some key is the actual key and my app is prefix.
For all keys, it will be used as a prefix.
Yes.
That is my underscore app. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I mean, this is useful when you are running the multiple applications. Let's say you are running 2 applications and you are using the same database, the same Redis database to like store the data inside the database. So I mean, if you will not use the key prefix, you will not be able to distinguish which data belongs to which application.
Right. Yes.
So now let's do one thing. So we have cache. So let's do hello is our application is running fine. We have already checked. So let's import time. Okay, let's not import time. Let's first do one thing. Cast dot cast and then timeout. Timeout is equal to, let's say I will keep it 30 seconds. And let's check whether our data is being stored inside the Redis database. Okay. Okay, I have not. Yes, dot. You need to tell your application that you are using the cache app. Not that. Let's rerun the application. Okay, let's go to this Redis database and okay.
I think you not given the database name, right, in the Redis cache, correct?
So database doesn't matter. The
A1,
database
okay.
doesn't matter. Only index matters. Okay, I have not loaded the configuration yet inside my application. App.config dot from object. I need to import the config. Import config. I've written the configuration file separately, but I have not like imported that configuration, and I'm not using this configuration here. Okay, I have not installed the Redis here. Install Redis. I guess it should work now. Yeah, you can see that there is a cache. I mean, the data is stored inside the cache, which has the value hello. Please ignore these signs. And I have set the timeout for 30 seconds. So after 30 seconds, it will disappear.
So you are catching the entire root URL, right?
Yeah, I mean, whatever this value, whatever this function will return, the home function
Okay.
will be cached.
Okay.
What are those extra characters coming?
I don't worry about this one.
Okay.
I mean, these are some encoded values. I don't know. So you can see that this is gone now. So let's check. Let's see what happens if I'll use time.slip port time, and I will use time.slip for, let's make it for 5 seconds. 5 seconds is too low. Let's make it 10 seconds. And let's say I will if I will run this application, what will happen? It will take 10 seconds. It will let me go there. So what will happen once the control comes on line number 14? Everything will be stopped for 10 seconds. So the result will take 10 extra seconds to like appear on the screen, because the process is sleeping for 10 seconds. This process is sleeping for 10 seconds. So let's say, so it will wait for 10 seconds. Yeah, to complete. Hello. And but if I will now fight. And if I will again request, I will like use this URL to request the data, it will the result will appear instantaneously, because it's not coming from here from the result value, it is coming from the cache. The control is not going here. As soon as it sees the cache.cache, it checks in the cache that is there any cache for this function. If yes, then it will return directly from the cache. If not, it will like proceed further. Okay, let's do it again. This time I will make a fresh request so that you guys could see what is happening. Localhost 5009, and if I'll make a request to this URL, you can see that there is nothing appearing on the screen. It will wait for 10 seconds because I am using time.sleep, and after 10 seconds it will show me the result, hello. But now if I will again use this URL to make a request, then you can see that the result is coming instantaneously. Is it clear?
So after 30 seconds, again it will take 10 seconds time.
Yeah.
It will show in the network also, right? In the if you put the F12, it will show it is reading from the cache, right?
Yes. So I hope it is clear now.
Yeah, up to here clear.
Okay. Now what I will do, so if you go to the class caching documentation, you can see there are a lot of functions available you can use. I'll go to the API portion and cache API. So the cache API init app I have already used. Init app means to like inform the application that I am using the caching. I mean, this is like a standard way in class to tell the application that I am using this module. So I mean, please use it as an extension. And get, I mean, get is used if you have already cached some data, then you can use get to fetch that data from the cache. And there are a lot of functions, but what we are going to use here is delete. So delete is used to delete the cache. And if you use the clear, it will clear everything inside the cache. Like if you use delete only, it will delete the result of certain function of a single function, you can say one function. But if you will use the clear, it will clear the whole cache. I mean, this documentation is not written properly, I guess, because in every the detail of every function is written proxy function for internal cache object, proxy function for internal cache object. But what it takes the name of the function and execute the command. So if you want to use the delete, you just have to put the name of the function of which you want to delete. I mean, the result of which you want to delete. Let's check this. Let's go here and create app.route and delete home and then delete home. And what I will do, I will just delete this cache dot delete, and I'll pass the value of the function which return value I want to delete. So if I will make a request to this endpoint, it will just delete the cache which is stored corresponding to this home function. So let's check this. Let's rerun this application. Okay. So let's remove this time.sleep because it will take 10 seconds to execute. And I think we should increase the timeout here. Okay, let's delete this first and rerun this. And if I go here and refresh, this time it's 55 seconds. So it will stay here for 55 seconds. So if I'll go here and delete /home. Okay, it's not returning anything. Return cache. Let's check whether okay, only 14 seconds remaining. Let's make it 120 so that we will have enough time. It's gone now. So I'll make a request again, and you can see that data is cached here. And then if I will delete cache deleted it, and if I will go here, okay, it's not deleted. Why? Okay, let me check whether I have made some mistake. Okay, I think this name should not be a string. Okay, let's delete this cache. Let's rerun this application. And check whether the data is stored. Yeah, and let's run this delete/home. When we continue from str2, so let me do one thing. Okay, I have written it in the wrong place. key prefix not home. If I run this delete, cache deleted. Yeah. So the key prefix is like something. This is the default key prefix. If you go to the configuration.py, I have not set any key prefix here. So the default key prefix for all the keys are okay. I have deleted this. So if you read the name of this key, this is the name of the key. So the flask cache will be appended to all the keys, which we have not decided because we have not set the prefix in our configuration. But by default, the flask caching will append the flask cache as a prefix to all the keys, and this part we can decide, and this part will be decided by key prefix parameter. So here we have used the home. So the like the whole name of this key will be flask cache, which is like the flask cache is decided by the flask caching module, and the home which we have given separately for to store this key name home. If you will not use this home, then the flask will use the request.path. Like if I will remove this one, you will see that if I will remove this part, we can see that this part will be slash. The home will not be written there. Okay, let me remove this. And if I again run this, you can see that this view and double slash is decided is like given by the flask. So we can rewrite this view slash view double slash by like we can rewrite this part by using key prefix. We are giving a specific name to this key. Is it understood?
Yes, sir. Sir, I'm having a doubt now.
Yeah.
We are able to have a cache. Okay, so what is the next thing? What we are going to do on this?
What we are going to do on this,
Yeah, now on Flask as a server, we are using a Redis and we are able to cache the thing.
Yeah.
But what is the next thing on the top of that? What we are going to implement? What will be the next step? In our app, how we are going to use this step? That is what I wanted to know.
Yeah, in our application, we are caching the result of some function, and if some user asks for that resource, we are going to return it from the cache.
Okay, are we going to see that part as well? That through cache, how we are returning? Okay.
That we already have seen.
So whatever is going to get returned, that will be always given from this cached part instead of accessing from the endpoint.
If it's cached, it will be returned from the cache. I mean, I wrote the time.sleep here for 10 seconds. So if you take a request to this endpoint slash endpoint, it will run this function, and once the control comes to this time.sleep, the process will sleep for 10 seconds and then return hello. So the minimum time taken by this function to return hello is 10 seconds.
Okay.
And
Within this
what-
120, within this 120 second, if we are getting frequent requests from the user, that will be returned
Yeah.
from the cache.
return from the cache.
Cache. Okay. Okay, clear, sir. Clear. Got it.
And then once you set the key prefix, you can use this key prefix name home to delete the cache, to target the cache.
So if it is being returned from cache, then line number 13 to 15 won't get executed.
No. Because once this control comes here, it will check whether the result of this function home is cached inside the inside our cache backend or not. If it's cached inside our cache backend, then it will return from the cache. If not, if it's not cached, then it will proceed further.
And if we remove timeout, then it will be there forever until unless we delete it.
Yeah, but the configuration config.py, we have also set the default timeout. So it is going to be there for.
Yes, so if we comment it out, then that will be the case.
Yeah.
So how is it is going to be useful?
Why it's very useful. Let's say you are, I mean, you have some function which is not which result is not changing much, but it is taking a lot of time to compute. So you can store that the result of that function inside the cache, and once the use it will be one time process there. The server has to process it only once, and once the result of this that function is like, once we have the result of that function, we will cache the result of that function inside our Redis database, and if the second user asks for that result, we will return it from the cache, from the Redis database, not from we will not recompute that the result of that function.
Okay.
Narendra, shall I just add to this?
Yeah.
So there are certain websites, even in the market, where what we usually do is that we update the contents on those websites, let's say every evening. What we do is that we collect the data throughout the day, and we update every data that we have collected, let's say 5 p.m. in the morning. So whatever request that you are going to get from morning to evening, do you really want all of those requests to hit your data server? Because the data that is returned by the data server is going to remain same till the evening. Yes, what we are saying is that we are only updating the content till 5 p.m. So instead, what you can do is, in order to improve the efficiency of your web application, you can cache the result, so that no request should hit the database server, and everything must be returned from the cache. And once you update it at 5 p.m., your cache will time out, and then again, when the first request will hit the data server, the data returned would be again cached, and it is going to be helpful for the subsequent request.
So any one particular user may face a little delay, but then subsequent will be instantaneous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, time.sleep I am using, I mean, this is just a simulation of some process which takes 10 seconds. So there may be
Yes,
some
sir.
process which
Got it,
takes
sir.
10 seconds. Yeah.
So there is no sound.
Okay, sorry.
Now it is audible.
Okay. So what I'm saying, it's not necessary that you will always cache a view function. Like here in this case, we are caching this view function. So what you can do, you can cache a simple process. Process means you can cache a function and you can use the cached value of that function in multiple view functions. Like let's say I have created a simple function and I'm caching the result cached, and let's timeout is equal to 60 seconds, and then key prefix pre, key prefix is equal to so what I'm saying, you can create a function and you can cache the result of the function. It's not necessary that you will always cache the value of this function of a view function. So what you can do, you can cache the result of a database operation. Like let's say you are let's say in your application you are using the list of all the users. So what you can do, you can make a simple function which will just return the list of all the list of all the users, and you can cache the result of that function, and you can use that inside multiple view functions. Am I clear?
Yes, we are getting the point, but cannot we write inside? Means every time we need to write before the function.
Yeah, because it's related to the function. This is how the decorators work.
But in some condition, as you explained just now, that about the database, like we are fetching user or employees or department. Okay, so we cannot put inside the function that okay, if I am fetching from the database, I will catch it because I know in the 10 minutes, 10 seconds, nothing is going to change. And then when the user will call, it will just read. So you are telling for that every time we need to write a function, catch it, and then we have to call that function.
No. What you can do, you can create a, let's say this is a function. I'll write a pseudo code for it. Like let's say you have a user like user table. So what I will do, user is equal to user dot query
I will write all this.
dot all, and then I will return the user here.
Right.
And whenever I will use, let's say, and I am using this function here, so I will not write the query inside here. I will call this function simple function here.
Yeah, I am that only I'm asking. We cannot this catch this user directly inside the program, right?
Yes.
Oh. Every time, so we have to split into small component for each of these tables and just invoke it, and automatically it will catch. Okay.
Yes.
And also, there are some cases we need to cache. This catching has to replace by the parameter passing, like
Yeah.
yeah.
We will discuss that.
Okay.
We call it memoirs.
Yeah, that I want to know how to do.
Okay, let's discuss this at the end, or let me create two route. Okay. Will be slash. I'll call it home, and the name will be home1. Home new I'll call, and I will not. Let's remove this time dot sleep. and then return simple function. Simple function and return function. So the point is this. So let's say some user hits this URL endpoint at this endpoint URL slash. So it will run this function, simple function, and this function will be cached. The value of the return value of this function will be cached. So next time when some user clicks on like request for this slash home URL, it this function also returns the simple function. So it will so the simple function will be returned from the cache this time because it's already cached, because the user one has already cached when he hit the slash URL. I mean, this is a simple demonstration. Like the whole point of demonstrating this is you can split some parts of your application, the parts which you are using in multiple places, and cache the result of those parts, and then you can use the cached value of cached values in the other functions. Is the point clear?
Yes, yes. Point is-
Yes.
So in the cache, I mean, the server, there will be one cache in the name simple and one in the name of home. And home is invoking that simple cache.
Okay. Cache you need to remove from here now. It's not necessary now because you are caching the value of this simple function.
Oh, no,
So
but
when
there
some
could
user
be
clicks
scenario,
on when some user click like request for the URL slash, this function will be run, and then simple function will be executed, and this simple function is decorated with the cache.cast.
Okay, sir, got it. So till that time it is there in the cache,
Yeah,
it will be returned from cache itself.
yeah, that then it will be cached. The result of this simple function will be cached, and when some other user or that user again calls the slash home,
Yeah, it can be called at any of the endpoints.
yeah,
It
it
will
can be
just look
used
for
in
it.
any of the endpoints.
no, but consider a scenario where the simple functions we are using like user tables, okay, which is we are inside the home class, but we
Yeah.
also want to catch the home so that next time when the user will open the screen, whatever for example, I have written something which need to be loaded. Okay.
Yeah.
That time this catch is also required. Means
Yeah, that cache is also required. Whenever you want to cache the value of the function, then it is required.
okay.
But this time I'm not like interested in caching the result of this home function.
Yeah, okay, got it. Got it.
So if I want to cache this home new as well as simple function, then I need to uncomment this 20 line
Yeah.
number 23.
Yes.
So, but suppose line number 23 is there, which is cached.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, simple function cache is changing. So how it will internally do?
Simple function cache is changing. I mean, this cache has changed.
This cache has changed, but
I mean,
this home,
if you will uncomment this line, there will be one other key, uh, the value of which will be the return value of this home new. I mean, the cache key for this simple function and this home new will be different.
correct. So, but then all the cache, like you told earlier that cache is unchanged. We cache something which is going to remain unchanged. But between, say, at a particular instance, simple function return is changing while home is as it is.
Yeah.
Then how
So
will that reflect in home?
no. If you are caching the result of this new home, so it will not change. Even if you will change the value of the simple function, it will remain the same till like the cache of this home new is present inside the Redis database. It will not change.
You have to decide that when you need to cache the main function, when you are calling some local function inside it. Otherwise, it will not refresh.
I mean, even if the value of the simple function is changing, the result will come from the cache, because once the control goes to the line number 23, it will just check inside the Redis database whether the value is of the return value of the home new is cached or not. If it's cached, it will return directly from the Redis database.
Correct.
So the control will not go to the return home simple function. So even if you change the value of the simple function, the result will remain the same.
Got it.
One sec. Okay, what I will do, I will just uncomment this. Let's keep it like this. Let's say you have a route which has dynamic part. Let's create one new route, app.route, and call it /user. Okay, and /id. It will be int and id. And if user, and it will take the id as a parameter and return welcome user with id, and I'll pass the id here. So now what is happening? The result is dependent on the id. So if you cast the result of the whole result here, the id, what will happen? I mean, the result will not change, because if you change the but if you change the id, the result should be changed. Like what I'm trying to say, that the return value of this user depends on the id. But if the control doesn't go inside this user.id, the cache value will not change. So this is the problem. Like,
So does that mean particular user will be cached? The second user with another ID will not be cached.
will not be cached. The resultant will be the same.
It is going to, okay, what though the ID is going to get changed, whatever the value there is in the cache, it is going to give the same one.
Yes.
For both user, okay. And how we can deal with that?
Memoize. Cache.memoize.
Memoize.
Key prefix should not be here. cache.memoize, what it does, it takes the parameter as in the consideration. It will consider the parameter also. Like here, if you see, this function doesn't have a parameter. So the result of this function will not change based on the parameter because it doesn't take any parameter. But this function, the result of this function will change based on the parameter. So we need to take the parameter of the function in consideration when we are caching the result of this function. I move. Let's call it 60. So what will happen? The key will be generated based on the parameter and the function name, or if you will give the key prefix. Okay, I have key prefix is equal to user. So the key will be generated based on this the name of the function and also the parameter which is being passed. If you will if you will change the value of this ID, the key will change. You got the idea, na?
So basically, if one user has hit this, then that user will be cached, and every subsequent times if the same user is hitting,
Yeah,
then
that will.
it will be served from cache. But some other user is trying to access, then again it will go through the line number 36 to 37, and it will
Yeah,
be again cached for that particular second user. And next time second user is trying to hit, then again it will be returned from cache. So
yeah,
every time a new user is coming, which is not there in cache, then it will go through the definition.
yes. The reason is that the key is being generated based on this ID. I mean, the ID is also included in the key, not directly ID. The some cached value of or some
Yes, yeah,
encrypted value
like
of
it is not
ID.
some static result; it is
Yeah,
dynamic result, and hence.
yeah. The key is generated. The key is also dependent on the ID. So if you change the value of ID, the key will also change. And if the value, I mean, if the control comes here and the ID has changed, so the key will be different from the different ID. So it will not, and if the user is hitting for the first time, it will not be able to get the value from the Redis database.
But how this cache memos know that I need to change based on ID? Means whatever the parameter we are passing in the function, it will automatically read it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, based on those parameters, it will generate a different key.
Okay.
You can say, I will write it here. The key is a function of ID. So if you change the ID, the key will change.
So
So
suppose we are passing here two parameters, then it will take the combination of the two parameters.
yeah, the combination.
Okay. Nice.
So in order to get the data from the cache, you need to keep both the parameters same. Then only the key will match.
Yeah, that was the question I asked. Okay.
Yeah.
So this way it is changing it. Okay.
Okay, key prefix is is not relevant. So if you go here, and what was the /user /int /user /int, I will give 1. Welcome user with ID 1. And if you'll go to inside the Redis database, and you can see this is the user with ID 1. And you can see that the class cache, this class cache is appended by the flask, by the flask caching module, which is default prefix, and this is the new key. And if I'll change this to 2, you will see that there is one more key inside this Redis database, this one. But if I will hit this endpoint again, it will not generate the same, it will not generate the new key. The key will remain same, because the key is dependent on it. It is some encrypted value of all the combinations, like it. And in the combinations, the parameter are also the part of that combination. It encrypts the key for the security, because the ID is like sensitive information, or the parameters are like sensitive information. So the flask caching encrypt that part and generates a key based on those parameters. So let's check. Let's do one thing. Let's pass one more parameter and see what happens. Why should I do this, or I should proceed further? Because if you will pass one more parameter, the key will be generated based on both the parameters. So two keys will be similar if both the parameters are the same. I don't think you guys can like experiment with this.
Yeah, we will try, no problem.
Yeah. So now let's say you want to like delete this memoized value. So that this will be similar to this cache.delete, but the function will be different. Delete memoize will be the new function, and you need to pass the ID also, like the parameter also. ID delete. Delete user. And ID will be passed to this new function. So what I will do, cache dot delete memoize and you pass the name of user and ID and return user user from yes. let's make it 100 seconds so that we could check whether the cache is being deleted or not. Let's check in the cache first. Nothing inside the cache. What happens? So if we'll go to the cache now, you'll see that you have the key related to, the key related to the result of the view function. And now if you will, let's check user ID and delete. User ID and delete. Okay. Cache object has, let's check the name of the function. Memoized. ZED. User deleted from the cache. Yeah, the user is deleted from the cache. Let's try it again. Let's check in the database. So we have a key corresponding to the return value of the function, and it will expire after 1 minute. If I click on the delete, says that the user deleted from the cache. So deleted. Delete memoize. User ID. It should run. Let me rerun this application. User 2. Okay. Let's check inside the Redis database. The data is here. Let's hit slash delete. Says the user is deleted. Yeah, it's deleted. So the method you use to delete the memoized cache is delete memoized, and you pass the function name here user, and then the parameter also, so that it could like delete, it could make regenerate the key and then delete the data. Is there any question here?
No, clear.
Okay, and if you want to clear all the data, you can use the clear the cache dot clear, and it will clear all the cache data inside your database. App dot route slash clear all and delete make it clear name clear ID. Okay, and what I will do, cache dot clear, and it will clear the all the cache from the result from the like cache backend. Return cache cleared. There is nothing inside the database, so let's make some request. Okay, hello from the simple function, and then I will make a call user slash 2 and 3, and let's go to this database and see that we have multiple caches. So let's check what was the name of the clear all, and let's make a request to the clear all endpoint. Clear all what? Okay, ID I should not have passed. Let's rerun this. Cache cleared, and let's go here and see there is no cache here. There is no data here. You have cleared all the cache. So let's make some requests, and let's validate again. User 2, I'll just change the parameters. 3 and 4 and 5, and let's go to this database. We have a lot of data here. So what I will do, I will go here and make a call to the clear all endpoint, and cache cleared. And if I'll go here and check, there is no key here. So you have cleared all the cache. So in practice, you don't use a endpoint to clear all your cache. So let's say what happens, and this delete memoize and delete the cached value. What you do, let's say you have a application which stores the which stores the user, and some user delete its account, but the user information will be stored inside the cache. Let's assume this scenario. So what you would ideally want, so once the user deletes its account, all the data should be deleted from the cache also. So you can use the delete method and delete memo is there. So what my point is that you don't make a URL to like call some function in order to delete a cache. These deletes are used to delete the cache from your from cache backend. But I mean these functions are mixed within some functions inside your like view functions, or if you are creating an API, then inside your API functions. So you should use it very like carefully. You can use your mind where you can use this delete method, or if you can use the .get method to get if you know the value of the key. So if you are deleting some resource, you want to delete it from the cache if it is inside the cache. So inside the delete, let's say you are creating a API using the REST class RESTful. So when you will create the delete function inside your resource class, inside your resource class, there you also want to check whether there is something inside the cache related to this user, because this user is being deleted. So if yes, then delete that cache. Is there any question?
No, sir.
Okay. So the deleting and update, I guess you can delete the cache, and I mean the first thing you can do, you can, let's say I want to like discuss the thread operation for this Redis database, like the cache data. So the delete, you know how to delete the data, how to create the data, you know. And in order to update the data, you can just simply delete the data from the cache, and then you can recreate the data. You can recreate the data with the new data. So this way you can like update the data. If you want to read the data, .get is the method. For example, let's say I will create one more route, app.route slash delete slash get slash home. So let's get home, and then what I will do, cache cache dot get, and then I will pass the URL to the home, and then return return this value. So what I'm trying to say here is this is how you can read the data from the cache. You are not doing any processing. What you are doing, you are just getting the data from the cache and returning it.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if I write one decorator with root, say home, let's take example line number 22. And if I define different CRUD operation methods over there, different definitions for all CRUD operations, and if I enable line number 23, will all those definitions will be cached in that scenario? Under that decorator, whatever the definitions I'm going to write, more than one definition, are those all going to get cached?
So you cannot return multiple values from a function.
Okay. So we have to take care that every time it will be a separate one.
Yeah, I mean, let's say you are creating, let's say you are like creating a RESTful API. Let's create a RESTful API. So inside the REST, you can you extend the resource class, and inside that class you define multiple methods: get, put, post.
Yes. Yes.
All those methods you define, and all
and I want to cache them.
Yeah, and you want to cache the results of all those functions.
Yes,
all
correct.
You can use this decorator just before the definition of the get.
Every definition. Before every definition, I have to copy it. Okay.
But in the deleting, you cache the data.
One more thing. In that scenario, do I need to have the separate key prefix? That would be better, no?
Yeah.
For definitions, it would be better to have the separate key prefix for all of them, or it should be same.
I mean, key prefix should not be same.
Okay.
The key prefix you are using to generate the key for your returned value.
Yes, sir.
And you don't want to cache the value of the delete operation. You don't want to the post method. You can, like, if you are caching the value of the post, I mean, you also don't want to cache the value of the post method, because you are going to like post the data to the like server, and the server is going to like put that inside the database. But if the data that data is not being returned to the user, there is no point to cache that data, because the return value
only get method we have to cache. That makes sense.
I mean, depends on how you like return the value. So one thing you keep in mind, that the return value will be cached.
Yeah.
So if you are just returning okay, there is no point in caching that okay.
If something from database we are getting from the database and delivering to the client, then that can be cached. That makes the sense.
Yes, and even if in the post method, if you are like putting the data inside the database and then returning the data, then you can, in that case also, you can cache that data.
Yes, sir. Yeah, clear, sir. Got it.
Any question?
No, sir.
Okay. Does anybody has any question?
I was just checking the documentation of your Redis code. There they have written that explicitly also we can do the data cache, like cache.set, cache.get.
Yes, yeah.
I will try it, but I don't know whether it is working.
Yeah, get and set this. I mean, you can explicitly like, put the data inside your cache.
Okay, let me try this part.
I mean, all these methods are available. You can give it a shot. I've just used some of these methods. Like I have used cast, I have used clear, I have used delete, I have used get, but you can have a lot of like you have multiple functions. You can try all these functions. And similarly, inside the memoirs also, you have multiple functions. Like these are all related to the CRUD operations.
Okay, okay.
So if you guys have any questions, you can ask.
No question. Thank you. Clear.
Okay.
It's a good session.
No doubt, sir.
So you can use this caching in the API which we built, which I have built for the task API. You can try that. And you can also like you can extend that API for some salary jobs, all those things, just to test how it works. Okay, if you guys have no question, so can we close the session then?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, guys, thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Am I audible?